help you. I'm going to keep this session extremely short because I know the importance of your time. So there are three things which we are going to cover in today's session. Number one, that the general mistakes which I am summarizing, which I have realized after evaluation of so many copies, that what people are doing. So number one, the general mistakes. Number two, for each section, just a second. For each section, how you are going to, yes. So general mistakes, each sections, the prioritization of the points. This is very important, that how to prioritize your points, in what order it should be prioritized. And number three, which is also going to be very important, about the readiness or prioritization of the point plus structuring of the point. And number three, which is quite significant, that is the closure. We are towards the closure of the preparation. So how to do the effective closure. So this is what we are going to discuss, these three things. All right. So without wasting times, I'm going to start the general mistake. So let me just categorize it. I'm going to give it a very important understanding what is the general mistakes which people are doing. In essay, GS1, GS2, GS3, and GS4. All right. So what is the general mistake which is being done? First thing, when people are writing essay, they are focusing more upon the story. They are giving more importance to the story than that of the topic which is given. So this is a bad thing. This is a mistake. This is general mistakes which should not be done. All right, Hannah. Story should never be given importance more than topic. You should not be very emotional. Rather, people becoming emotional more than being emotionally intelligent. All right, Hannah. So this is also a very bad thing. When you are writing, you have to be very, very uh, uh, this emotionally intelligent means, what does it mean? It means that the examiner should feel emotional. It should be the appealing to the examiner, your essay. Third thing, when you are writing, sometimes I have seen that people are not focusing upon the shorter sentences. Too many commas, shorter sentences are not there. The paragraphs are uneven. Paragraphs are uneven, these are uneven. So these all things are bad things which should not be there. Shorter sentences must be there. People are writing longer sentences. There are tendencies of people who write indirect sentence. Never do that. Indirect sentence, or just what I say, that you think in Hindi and write in English, then the kind of sentence it comes like, in accordance to this and this happens. So this is a bad grammatical error which are being done. All right, all these things are not having the any scope in the essay writing. All right, so this is the essay thing, which is the general mistakes. GS1, if I talk about history, number one, then I talk about society, and I talk about geography. I'm talking about the general mistakes which are being done, which are being committed. In history, people are writing the analysis. Everything is perfect, but all of you are writing the analysis. But I found the timeline is missing, and history cannot be without the timeline. Timeline is missing. The Tamil Nadu board first chapter, the thing is that history cannot be studied in isolation with geography. So here the geographical aspect or some locational aspects are missing. So this should not happen. And then the personalities, name of the personalities, important theories which should be there, should be written. Must. All these things are must. In society, when I see, so let's say the question comes upon poverty, है ना? So poverty is not a very poverty is not exclusively society. If you're writing something about the poverty, so you will have to talk about the differential nature of accessibility or differential income. This is society. When you are bringing the social thing is such as the stakeholders, the women getting the less income or tribals are there. Social factors, social elements are must. So this is very significant in society. Some people are just writing the geography or just the economic point. There can be the social perspective for everything. And similarly in geography, yeah, I have evaluated the paper today also. I have seen the paper. There, without regionalization, there cannot be any geography. You must be doing the regionalization. This is very significant. Regionalization means you must be ready with the world map. You must be ready with the India map. So you will ask me, I'll say that for everything which is present, there can be the world map which can be created for every geography question. Even if it is not exclusively asked, you create that map. That is very important. All right. Then in GS paper 2, what people are doing in introduction, let's say there are two things, so polity and polity, governance, and then you will have this IR. All right. So what you are doing in polity, many points are being written, but the constitutional aspects are coming in the last, but it should be given the priority. The constitutional aspects, the judicial pronouncements, all right, judicial pronouncements are some committees. These are very important. Do not write the very generic point. Everything will have certain aspect of the constitutional aspect which is there. If we talk about the governance, let's say policy and something is there, or policy, or let's say civil society organization, or the pressure group or NGO, anything is there. So in governance also, you write the administrative perspective. You do not think about a particular person. Let's say the question comes in governance that Pradhan Mantri Surya Ghar Yojana, or any question comes. So you think from the administrative perspective. People are doing the mistake. They are thinking from individualistic perspective. Individual perspective is not required. When you have to imagine, you have to create the point. You do not create by putting yourself in the shoe of somebody else who is there, and then the points will come like the corruption is there, like the lack of awareness which is there. No, when you are thinking on certain topic, think like you are the Prime Minister of India. Then how do you see this topic? Then your thinking will change. In IR, most people find it very convenient that India is a democracy and Japan is a democracy, or for that matter, USA is a democracy, or for that matter, Japan is a democracy. All right. But is this the first point which has to be written? No. The cultural aspect or economic aspects, these are the most important aspects in IR. The prioritization of the points should be the strategic point first. And what I found that people are missing in IR, there is a scope of creation of diagrams. You should not miss that. Diagrams are must in IR. Diagrams are must. If we talk about GS paper number 3, what you are doing? I found little bit lesser understanding. Generally, what you are doing is that even if the question is not indicating towards the way forward, you will say way forward and you will write 4 points, 5 points. I am not asking you, you do that, but provided you have answered all the questions. Do not do this mistake. Unnecessary way forward is not required at all. Sometimes you write the way forward and you miss down the conclusion. It should not be there. There should not be absolutely mismanagement, any kind of mismanagement. So way forward is not required at all. All right. In this paper number 3, when we talk about the topics of science and technology, so there are people who will have the knowledge of the policies or the social perspective of it, but in the question of science and technology, you must be indicating towards the technological aspects of it. Yes, yes, technological aspects of it. है ना? Policies are the least priority. है ना? Technology is the first priority. So this is the technology which has to be focused upon in science and technology. All right. So in GS3, science and technology is there. If we talk about internal security again here, the strategic interest, the security interest are the most important interest. Security interest are the most important interest which should be focused upon. Not the any other interest. So security interest that includes the regional stability, the balanced regional development. All right, all these things are very, very significant, very, very important. Regional stability. All right. In GS paper number 4, the most people do the mistake like it feels like you are talking to your friend, you are doing counseling to someone. Counseling is not required. This is the mistake is committed by the people. Or informal talk, it looks like it is an informal talk. So how to differentiate informal talk from the formal language of ethics? So the gap is lying between the this, you consider, you write the values in the beginning. Values in beginning. All right. You write the values in beginning. So this is how from informal talk to formal language it will be there. In case studies, there are people who are using I, you, me, I will be doing this, you will be doing that, me. These things are not required at all. This is not a personalized question. Actually, they are trying to test your ethical considerations. So if at all it is to be written, you have to write it in third tense. Or use one has to be doing this, one has to do this and something like that. So, or the passive voice where the subject is not needed. So this is how it should be written. Now, these are the problems which I have highlighted. Okay, general mismatch problems. Now, to understand what is the what is the solution for this? Now I am talking about the solution and part number 2, solution to this. All right, let's talk about the solution. Solution, I'll just give you just clue. Examiner is lazy. Examiner is lazy. They, she or he does not want to read your answer. He or she does not want to read your answer. This is very important. Answer. Examiner is lazy. She or he does not want to read your answer. Examiner is busy. Examiner is busy. He or she or he has to complete the evaluation on time. And has to go home early. This is very important. He might be frightened also in some cases because he is having some personal issues. So when you understood this, that examiner is lazy, they do not have the time, they do not have the patience, they have to go to their home early. So in that situation, the solution comes. These are the problems. The solution comes. What is the solution? Let's say if we talk about the essay solution. Solution to the essay. Essay solution is simplicity rather than complexity. Simplicity rather than complexity. This is very important solution. Then in essay, I'll tell you about the focus upon the this the uh, um, the uniformity in paragraphs, presentation, and in line wise uniformity also, which is there. All right, Hannah. So this is quite, I want you to write. I want you to, although I will share this page, but I want you to write, keep jotting it down. This is very, very significant. All right. In essay, they want to see the topics. Examiner is lazy. Examiner is not a very sharp-minded person. Examiner might be frightened. So you have to recall him the topic. Recall the topic to the examiner. This is very important. So in every paragraph, you need to recall not by repeating the topic itself, but presenting the topic in such a way that examiner is able to understand uh, from your write-up that this is very close to the topic. Now let's come to GS1. Now let's come to GS1. When we talk about history, when we talk about history, so I'll just give you a broader guideline how to think in history. You essentially create a timeline, whatever you know in the question of history, irrespective of your knowledge, irrespective of maybe the question is not indicating towards the timeline, then also a small timeline with the help of fishbone diagram can be created. 2-3 words in some example, or maybe a big timeline of 5-6 keyword must be created. This is the standard presentation. This is called fishbone diagram. You cannot miss that. This will save your time. This will save your time. This will give the answer look more historical in nature. Number one, in the history. Number two, how to think timeline. I'll just give you the broader basis to think. I want you to write also. I want you to write. So in a history, let's say if they ask you, there are thinking parameters like the event wise, personality wise, there are ideology wise, there will be this chronology or event is the same. Chronology wise, there must be the regional analysis. If the scope is there, then you can just do the regional analysis. If I ask you about this personality wise you have written, then the topics like the press, the administration, the education. But if they are asking you a one question, you first think from two perspective, the broader structure, which may be suitable, the internal factors and the external factors. This is very, very important. Internal factors and external factors. Did you understand? I'm just trying to be very, very clear with respect to this. Let me just come to the society. How to think about the society. All right. In the question of society, you think stakeholder wise, that different stakeholder, how it is going to impact it. Social institution wise. Social institutions are not the political institutions. Social institutions like the marriage, caste, religion, all these are the social institutions. Then social processes or social practice wise, social processes. For example, social processes like the Sanskritization, like the patriarchy, all these things are there. All right, in society. All right, stakeholder, social institution, social practices, and then you can also just talk about the some historical comparison if the question is demanding that. Social processes will be like the cliff effect, like the the patrilocality, patrilineality, all these things could be the social institutions. So this is how you will have to think. Na? Social phenomena or social processes where we have written, or this is the phenomena which is there. Na? So this is society. If then we talk about the geography, geography, how to think. First thing you are going to think is the map which are going to be created. Map or regionalization. First thing is regionalization, and then you are going to think about if there is, let's say I'm just giving you 5 6 example. If there is a region, you do not, you just straight away think that region is natural and anthropogenic. Natural and anthropogenic. You, without this, you cannot just jump into writing the regions. Na? Regions will be natural and anthropogenic. And let's say in geography, we categorize, then you will just talk about the physiographic, you can talk about the climatic, then you can talk about the oceans, if at all the permits, or the water, the time permits, or the thing. Then you can talk about the biogeography, and then you can talk about the environmental geography, and then you can talk about the human geography, which is there. Human geography which is there. So if physiographic which you talk, then here you will just say, sir, how to categorize that. So here you will have to talk about the slope, topography. Topography is the entire picture, the landscape. The keyword is the landscape which is there. Or a particular landform, or particular landform is there. Let's say karst topography is there, so karst landform might be there. Climate, for climate you need to understand, climate is nothing but it is temperature, it is precipitation, it is relative humidity, it is the atmospheric pressure gradient, pressure variation, etc. If we talk about oceanic water, again the water density, the water temperature, the water salinity, water, this currents, waves, tides, all these things could be there. Biogeography must be with respect to the soil, with respect to the vegetation, all right, with respect to the this soil, vegetation, etc. Environmental geography, then mainly with respect to the environment, like this hydrogeochemical cycle, lithosphere, biosphere, hydrosphere, all these things are there. You know that. In human geography, again, you know about the NCERT initial classification, like the settlement geography, the political geography, the regional geography, economic geography. This is how you can generate the points. So this is about the geography. Let's talk about GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2. When we discuss about GS paper number 2, let's say the question is coming in the polity. Like let's say the examine the threats which are there for the parliament. So threats will be, you can just straight away, sir, decorum is not maintained. 99% people, the first point is coming like the decorum is not maintained, but I'll say that should be the last point which should be there. The first point should be what? The constitutional threats which are there. Constitution itself provides for the ordinance. Constitution itself provides for the judicial activism or judicial review. All these things are there. So this will be the idea should be writing the constitutional aspect first, and then you must be going with the legal aspect if it is there, or then the convention with respect to the constitution, or Supreme Court judgment, which is very, very significant, or any specialist or committee recommendation which is there. You cannot miss upon these points. Even it is slightly less related, then also you must state names should be visible, the constitutional article should be visible. That is going to give you the marks. So constitutional aspect, I'll give you a trick, I will give you a cheat code. I told you one constitutional article equivalent to 0.5 marks. So constitutional aspects, you remember the article and remember the corresponding parts, remember the corresponding schedule, at least 2 3 thing constitutional aspect you are talking. Let's say you talk about the fundamental rights, part 3, you talk about the DPSP, part 4, fundamental duties, part 4A. So that itself is going to work. This part showing is also going to work. So you just create that, you just remember. In legal, I will suggest you, because those people who have appeared in interview, I'll tell you, They are very much interested in understanding the full form of any law. The first question they are going to ask you, LARR Act, Land Acquisition, Rehabilitation and Resettlement Act. So they are going to ask you what is the full form of that. So I'll suggest you to remember 10 or 15 full form of the act, like exact as it is with the date and year. This is very, very important. Supreme Court judgments you must create. By now, this should be created, Supreme Court judgments and committees with respect to the topic. Individual judgment is not required at all. But with respect to the topic, it is very, very significant. It is very much required with respect to the topic. Am I audible? Am I audible or are you facing any problem speaking or nobody is listening? Participate little bit. Am I audible? आवाज आ रही है? Somebody please
Yes, sir.
say. Okay. Okay, okay. So the committee should be there. So, this judgment should be there. This is very, very this is very, very important, है ना? When we talk about the governance, then governance, you just do not go on the analytical point directly without having the points which is the administrative in nature, which is the legal in nature. Let's say if they are asking about the NGOs, they are asking about the self-help groups. So if you can suggest them that these are coming, the powers are coming from this particular law, Social Society Registration Act, or from any other legal or administrative, politico-administrative perspective. So that would be wonderful because the paper is paper number 2, politico-administrative perspective, which is there. All right, and then towards the end, then you generally in governance you must write the example. Here, like constitutional aspect is creating 0.5 marks. Here, examples are giving you one example is 0.5 marks. One example, 0.5 marks. One example, 0.5 marks. So calculate it like that. It is very, very simple. All right. So this is governance. And then we talk about the IR part. In IR part, it is very, very important for you to create the diagram. Without diagram, no IR. You just keep that in mind. I will create the diagram. I will create the world map. Let's say that ask about the role of India in South Asia. Then also I'm going to create the diagram of South Asia, or for that matter, Indian Ocean region, or I'm going to link it with the Pacific region, Indo-Pacific region. Something I can create. Some regional aspect I can create. So diagram must be there. Without diagram, there is no IR. In IR, this is very important for the strategy, prioritization of the point. Number one, the strategic point should be there. You should never undermine this importance of strategic point, and it should be written as the first point. Strategic point should be written as the first point. This is very, very important. Strategic point would be those points which are going to have the long-term impact, which is running since the long time, which is difficult, like the border disputes. Border disputes are let's say the issue on terrorism. Let's say for India, the strategic point would be the getting the United Nations permanent membership. So all these are the strategic points. And then you talk about the geo-economic points. Geo-economic points. This is very, very important. Geo-economic points will be with respect to the trade, with respect to the commerce. I tell you to organize your answer. This is very, very important. All right. And then cultural. Some people will remember, sir, Bollywood diplomacy with Afghanistan or with the Central Asia region. That is good, but should be acting as the last point. Should be acting as the last point. Bollywood diplomacy is not a very strategic. Rather than Afghanistan is for a strategic depth in Pakistan, or for let's say entry towards the Middle East region, or for entry towards the Central Asia region, for controlling the China, for controlling Indian Ocean region. So all these are the more important points than that of this what do you call this the point like they like the Indian movies. Are you understanding my point? So in IR, then geoeconomics with respect to the trade, and then the last point should be some political angle which is there. Then last point should be the cultural aspect which is there. Cultural and other people to people, some multi-track diplomacy which is going on, which is happening, all these things. When we talk about GS paper number 3, GS paper number 3, like I told you that in GS paper number 3, in polity, constitution part will have 0.5 marks. In GS paper number 3, the data will have 0.5 marks. Data 0.5 marks. One data. I have already told you we should be having this data pattern, not just the data. Data pattern. Data pattern means the data with a message, and that should be included with this 0.5 marks. 0.5 marks for data pattern. 0.5 marks for data pattern. So this is what is there. Data and data patterns which are there. All right. So GS3 data is there, data pattern is there. Then if I ask you in GS3 what is there, the in economics, the data in economics, what is the broader structure which can be taken? Let's say the points from the macroeconomics and the points from the microeconomics, demand, supply, and everything which is there. Microeconomics would be the unemployment, inflation, BOP crisis, fiscal deficit, twin deficit, inflation, the monetary policy, the fiscal policy, and so on. All the syllabus, you know that. Okay. In microeconomics, you know about the demand, supply, the agricultural investment or sector specific concerns which are there. So this is the microeconomics which is there. So this is how this is the most broader structure which can be taken for writing the economics answer. All right, which is going to give the examiner in a more presentable format. In the questions on disaster management, these are generally the question which are, with a very less amount of reading, you are going to score very high. All right, so the idea in most people face the problem with respect to the disaster is what? Not just they are focusing upon disaster too much and management too less. But here the idea is the management of disaster. Management of disaster. So that's why this rehabilitation, rescue, preparedness, mitigation, all these are the management aspect. If we talk about the tropical cyclone is itself a disaster, but the management aspect is going to give you the marks. You have to focus upon the management of the disaster. Clear? Clear? So disaster. If we talk about the internal security, I am going to tell you the most important keyword here is the security. Security. So security aspect should be given primacy. Security aspect is the prime factor. All right. Poverty, hunger, all these things will come but at the last point. Some people will write about this, what do you call, some of them will be writing about this regarding the security. They will be writing about the economic points or the politico-administrative points, because students will have generally ease to write any administrative points, like the corruption which is there. And corruption is the reason for this internal security thing, and that is a blunder. Even if your mind is aligned that corruption can be used everywhere, so that's a blunder. It has to be very, very specifically written. All right, so this is internal security. All right, so let's talk about GS paper number 4. GS paper number 4. GS paper number 4. What is there? Like I told you, in polity, articles are 0.5 marks. This in GS point this data are 0.5 marks. In GS paper number 4, the values are 0.25 marks. As many values, and in the beginning of your answer, even if you are writing the option for the given case study, you write with the value that you are smart enough to create the sentences. So create the sentence in such a way that the first line or first word, or let's say not maybe the first word, so after the second or third word should be the value. Second word should be the value. Third word should be the value. I have already taken one session on this paper number 4, that how to do that. 2-3 values together, comparative aspect, the question format, the diagrams, the innovation, the freshness in presentation, all these are required. All these are required. See, I tell you very explicitly that none of you, all of you are writing mains, none of you are having the lesser amount of knowledge. But those who are going to succeed are going to present the best. Maybe one knowledge less or one knowledge up is going to be compensated, but presentation is throughout. I'll suggest it is throughout in the entire paper. So maybe one point you miss or one point you gain, you can just play between 1 marks. But if the presentation throughout is good, you are going to play with 30, 40 marks, 40, 50 marks at least in entire 5 papers or 7 papers. So presentation is a must do thing and present in the format I have told you. So this is very, very significant. Now coming to the third point, the closure. This is the time for you to do the closure. How to do the closure for the examination? This is very, very important. You know about the constitution, guillotine closure. Last day, sir, I will just take up this book and I'll just take up this polity book and our closure will be there. So this situation should not come. You still have 20 days. I divide these 20 days in, 4 5 day slot. 4 5 day slot. All right. In, let's say, the first 5 days, you start with the writing. You start with the writing extensively from morning till evening. You write, and write. All right. Next 5 days, you prepare for these last 5 days. You are going to prepare for these last 5 days. Specifically, out of that last 2 days, you are going to prepare for that. And you are going to prepare for that. Let's say your admit card will come probably tomorrow. So what you are going to do, 7 to 9 or what is that, 12 to 2? This gap is there now. So what you are going to do in this time, you are going to prepare from here. These 5 days, you should be investing 4 to 5 days in that. It's very, very important. All right. What does that mean? You should have a very short, crisp notes ready with you so that in those 2 hours, you are going to revise only those things which you tend to forget. So you will ask me, sir, so how to consider which has to be written or not? I'll just suggest you, whatever you have read in past 3 months at least, if somebody says that, sir, I will revise it, the entire things, and I'm going to reproduce it there. So that is a myth. That is not going to happen. That is not going to happen. All right. Or somebody might be with the extra supernatural power, but let's consider ourselves as the normal human being. So create these short notes, 2 pagers, 5 pagers, you create that. This is very, very important. 2 pager, 1 pager for this entire world history, 1 pager for entire ancient India, 1 pager for entire modern India, 1 pager for entire geography. Only write those things which you are not able to revise, or make it even more systematic. 1 pager for the skill set and 1 pager for the skills which you should not forget, that you know about yourself. This 5 days of writing will give you the insight that where you are forgetting, what are the skills which is required. You create that. This is very, very essential. In essay also, you create before essay what you are going to read. Let's say you are going to read up 50 or 100 quotations or some of the stories which are there. All right, Anna. So you are going to read up, you are going to feel happy before writing the essay. But next 5 days, let's come to this is very, very crucial. This is very, very crucial. In these 5 days, again, you are going to revise the entire thing and enriching those 2 pages. This is one thing. And second thing is, see, those who have appeared in the interview, I'll tell you the first essay, when you go to write the first essay, you will have a lot of inertia because people tend to read more or revise more in these 20 days than to write more. So a lot of inertia is there in writing the essay, and that inertia is reflected in the marks. Sometimes time management, mismanagement. Sir, I completed the essay 10 minutes early. Sir, I took 10 minutes late. I needed only 10 more minutes, so I have to conclude little bit early. All these things are very, very dangerous, extremely dangerous for your preparation. You should be managing each single second of your time. You cannot complete 10 minutes early. You should not be short of 10 minutes time. For ensuring that you are going to manage the essay in the beautiful way in these 5 days and the next 5 days, in these 10 days, at least you are going to write 5 to 7 essays, or 10 essays would be wonderful. 10 days, 10 essays. 10 essays, so that you should not have the inertia. After the first paper, the inertia is gone. After the first paper, the inertia is gone. You should not be carrying the inertia there. All right. So essays, last day before going, you just complete that two essays should be written. At least you just plan this 20 days in such a way that last day you write two essays within a span of 3 hours, just before one day. And that should be a very light writing without any evaluation. You just write and go. No need to evaluate or re-evaluate. You just write and go. That there you are going to just come out of that inertia and you are going to complete the paper. First paper is very, very important. And the moment you have, what happens now? Essay के बाद you will have the time, and you are going to discuss कि sir, after the essay there will be a lot of time. So you are going to discuss with your friends that, okay, sir, I wrote this, I wrote this, I wrote this. Oh, you took this, I wrote this. I misinterpreted. So I misinterpreted. This burden will be carried in the paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, paper 4. The one paper is over, it is over. For God's sake, do not discuss it with anyone at that point of time. Do not discuss the content at all. You can discuss about the general things, but do not at all discuss the content. All right. So GS 1, 2, 3, 4, till the exam is finally over, do not discuss the content. Some people will face the problem. Probably I have realized some people that, sorry, this is the last paper. This is a very exhaustive process which I am passing through. This is the exhaustive process. But let the process complete. Some people will say ki, acha, this is my last paper, paper number 2, optional paper number 2. This is the last paper. I am feeling very happy 1.5 hours before that. Oh, tonight I have to party hard, and maybe I'll go on a vacation. And in the exam hall only you planned about the vacation. Yo, this Himachal is not good. Last year I have visited. So this year let's plan for some Lakshadweep kind of thing. That is even more dangerous. You will not realize that you are spoiling paper number 2. So my idea is to be in the present and score really competitive. Rest everything you know. I know that all of you are very, very mature. To summarize it, I just want to tell you that it is not the exam which is important. Exam day is important, but the preparation should be in the actual preparation in a way that exam should go smooth. It should go really smooth, very, very smooth. ठीक है? Hmm. Is there anything else you people want it from me? I want you to be little bit interactive with me. Ah, मेरे से बात कर सकते हैं। आपको कुछ चाहिए मेरे से तो आप मुझे बता दें।
सर हिंदी।
अच्छा, हिंदी। आई हिंदी में और किसको किसको प्रॉब्लम है? लैंग्वेज पेपर। लैंग्वेज पेपर में और किसको किसको प्रॉब्लम है? किसी को नहीं। सो आई जस्ट टेल यू अबाउट हिंदी, हाउ टू डू हिंदी। ठीक है। हिंदी देखो, इन लैंग्वेज पेपर you should be attempting it in a really smart way. First thing, the Hindi to English, what is there, Hindi to English, that has to be done, so that you collect some words from there in from your paper only. Then you go for that, the paragraph thing. There also you collect certain words. Essays should be attempted in the last, and you do not have to be very very this ki I'll have to write some word which is extraordinary, नहीं, साधारण शब्दावली का प्रयोग करना है। और जैसे देखो इसमें शब्दावली, ईकार में दिक्कत है। जैसे बल्कि, बल्कि मीन्स बट का हिंदी बल्कि, किंतु परंतु, लेकिन, इन सब में से कोई भी एक यूज कर लो, दैट्स अप टू यू। सो जो आसान पड़े, अगर मगर, ये सब तो आसान वर्ड है ना। Do you understand? So you will have to democracy. Let's say democracy is there. So it's loktantra. Loktantra, absolutely no problem in writing. Women empowerment, nare sasakti-karan. So sasakti-karan, the word is there. You prepare it before going. So Hindi will be done. I'll just discuss with you. Or kisi ko, if you have anything to ask me, please ask me. How can I help you? How can I assist you? Hmm. बोलो।
सर ये आपने कहा कि जो माइक्रो नोट्स बनाना है एक पन्ने में पूरा का पूरा सिलेबस, ये आप कोई सैंपल दिखा सकते हैं क्या? आपने बनाया हो या किसी स्टूडेंट ने बनाया हो कभी?
Okay, I'll just show you. Wait. मेरे पास एक ही बचा है समहाउ। उस समय आईपैड हुआ नहीं करता था, ठीक है ना? तो मेरे टाइम में तो मेरे पास एक सैंपल है जो कि मेरा खुद का बनाया हुआ है। ठीक है, आई विल शो इट टू यू। हाँ, ये देखो। देखो, दिस इज वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री। दिस इज वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री। ठीक है ना? हाँ, ये देखो। देख रहे हो? कैन यू सी दैट? हाँ, this is American Revolution events, ESPIIIM, immediate, economic, social, political, international. And then I just talked about, I just took this one, this Townsend plan. I'm knowing all this ki under this what is going to come. All right, है ना? First Philadelphia, second Philadelphia, and so on. If we talk about the French Revolution, so this one is the French Revolution, rise of Napoleon. If we talk about Italy, so this one is Italy. All right, है ना? This is Germany unification. This is Germany unification. This is Korean War, Vietnam War. So I realized then कि oh, it is also very big. It is also very big. So this one is Korea. Look at this. For me, this one is Korean Revolution. This one happened in Vietnam. So so it is not like that. My notes is not having the breathing space. It is having the breathing space. If we talk about Cold War, so I told you okay, this one is the Cold War. All right. I'm talking about US. Again, I realized that US is bigger. So I said, okay, this one is US. This one is Japan. This one is Napoleon, rise of Napoleon. This one is French Revolution. Look at this French Revolution. Can you say from starting from 7-year war, Louis 4, 14, Louis 4 states meeting, deadlock, tennis court oath, protest, Bastille prison, National Assembly, National Council, Jacobian, this Cordilleran, and Reign of Terror, Rise of Napoleon, which is there. Are you understanding my point? This one is one point. German unification. This one is German unification. This one is Russia. This one is Italy. This one is Italy. Look at this. This one is Italy. Italy unification. The story of Italy unification. In China, this one is China. First opium, second opium, Sun Yat-sen, Chiang Kai-shek, and the things are over. And then this is the Zionist movement and Israel and Palestine. So did you understand now?
Yes, sir.
Hmm? Did you understand? So this would be for you. Let's say if I say from the history only, I can just recall this key, sir. Some people, they if they ask you, and today also there was somebody I was evaluating the Avyas copy. ठीक है ना? So I'll just give you one more customizable thing. है ना? Let's say some people stated कि sir वर्ल्ड वॉर वन का रीजन क्या है, वर्ल्ड वॉर टू का रीजन क्या है? What is the region of World War One and World War Two? I'll say MAINS. This itself is the region. Militarism, alliances, imperialism, nationalism, and Serbian nationalism. So Serbian nationalism will be for First World War, and Second World War will be something else. So let's say Hitler. So mains is there, right? Right? Are you understanding my point? So regions, I'm just writing mains. This is my notes. I have to revise, nothing else. Clear? Makes sense? Makes sense since poverty is very important. And there was a question on poverty line. So I'll just give you this one. If they ask you about the discrepancies with respect to poverty line, this one is always poor. This one is usually poor. This one is churning poor. This one is occasionally poor. This one is never poor. And this one is the poverty line. Always poor will be like this. Usually poor will be like this. Churning poor will be like this. Occasionally poor will be like this. Sometimes below poverty line, but most of the times he is above. Never poor is like this. You just remember this through AUCON. Ocon. Ocon. So you will say, sir, is this diagram customizable? Yes, why not? Let's say if you want to create the impact of COVID, this is impact of COVID. This is impact of COVID. I'm just making it a little bit bigger to give you the more visibility, or impact of inflation or impact of COVID. I'm just saying you impact of COVID. What is happening with respect to impact of COVID? This is poverty line. Again, the same poverty line, but this always poor will be going deeper. This never poor will be always poor. This churning poor will be occasionally poor. And this occasionally poor will be what? Will be the churning poor. And this will be the occasionally poor. This is what is the situation. Here you can just write about, this deeper occasional always poor, or the poorer. It is the going much below the poverty line. Here you can just talk about the this this is always poor. This is usually poor. This is churning poor. This is occasionally poor. So this never poor got transited to this one. This is the deep poverty. This is completely innovative idea of presentation which is there. If you could do that, that is going to be wonderful. That is going to give you a new freshness in your writing, in your write-up. I was telling somebody to do such kind of freshness, to bring such kind of freshness. That's why some people in their first attempt, they are getting a very good score, and some people in their last attempt probably they will have much more knowledge than that the first attempt person. But struggling to get very high marks, you need to have the freshness in your writer. Hmm. Yes, ask me if you have anything else to ask. Mahitos.
सर अभी अगर ऑप्शनल बचा है तो उस पे टाइम स्पेंड कर सकते हैं।
हाँ, बचा है तो यू विल बचना नहीं चाहिए।
मतलब रिवाइज करना है, उसके नोट्स बनाने हैं अगर,
देखो,
जैसा आपने
देखो
जीएस के लिए बोला वैसे।
देखो, रिवीजन एक मिथ है अभी के टाइम के लिए, ठीक है ना। आप रिवाइज करके व्हाट यू वांट टू प्रूव टू योरसेल्फ, मे बी यू विल रिवाइज द एंटायर थिंग एंड 2 दिन बाद यू विल फॉरगेट because you are in extreme pressure. I understand your situation. Your mind is the pressure cooker. So once the gas is released, the pressure is gone, and you are going to forget everything. So you, in your optional also, you follow this approach in this strategy, that what you are going to do in that 7 days gap, that should be done by you, not what I am going to do it today. I told you in the beginning only that there are two things which are there. Number one is the skill development, and number two is the content consolidation. We are giving closure to the content consolidation. Skill development you have already learned. Nothing more can be done now in a very short span of time. Yet you write, your skill will be sharpened. So I told you two things. One is skill and another is content consolidation. I told you this content consolidation is, what is this content consolidation? It is not the content in isolated manner. Consolidation means just exam ke just 1 day before or maybe 2 hours before, how you are managing the content. 2 hours for managing the entire content. If you could, then you are ready. Your content is superior than anyone else, and without doing the guillotine closure. Sir, I can manage in 1 minute also by just seeing the book, and it will be closed. So that is guillotine closure, which is not required at all. Skill you have learned already, or some sharpening of the skill which is required, that will be coming after the aggressive writing. Even some deficit is there, if you find some deficit is there, that will be improved with respect to the writing. And trust me, if you have to figure out for yourself, sir, what is the most important thing for skill and this content, that is the balance. If you have to figure out how to ensure that your skill is good or not, you can just write the test in the 3 hours environment, and 2 hours 59 minutes 59 seconds, if you are able to complete the paper with managing all the introduction, body and conclusion, with managing where you know better, you can fight for the marks. The paper should be written with respect to the marks you can get. Where you cannot, where you do not know, you should not be writing too much, because examiner is much more smarter than you. He or she will understand that you are bluffing, and you are wasting time, you are doing the double loss. When you do not know something, be humble in the examination, and with that humility, write probably half page. If you are not knowing this question is worth 10 marks, and if you are not knowing this question, so that means if you do not write, you will get 0 marks. So why you are fighting with for this to get the 5 marks? You cannot get if you do not know, if you do not have the idea about this. Like the Bose-Einstein condensate. If you do not have the idea about this, you fight for maximum 1 marks, 1.5 marks to the maximum extent. For getting 1.5 marks, you do not need to write 1 page. Whatever you know, whatever the limited knowledge you have, write it in the relevant manner. So when where you do not know, do not give extra time, rather give less time. This is what is the strategy. This is what is the management in the exam time. People will have this tendency ki, sir, I'll save time here because I knew it here, so so that I can give that in making the statement for those where I do not know. Whatever you do, whatever you do here, where you know na, where you know, it's very easy from 3 marks to 5 marks. This movement of 3 marks to 5 marks with the better presentation and everything, this is easy. But here where you do not know, it's very difficult to go from 1 marks to 2 marks. Very difficult, very, very difficult, almost impossible, because you do not know, and examiner knows that you do not know. So why to give time there? Why to waste your time there? Be smart, very, very smart in approaching the paper. Yes. Anyone else, please ask me the question if you have any. पूछ लो. मोनिका.
यस सर। सर अभी तो कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं है, बस ये पूछना था कि अभी 20 डेज में टेस्ट कितना अटेम्प्ट करना चाहिए।
5 डेज में जितना ज्यादा कर सकते हो. मैं तो बोलूंगा 10 टेस्ट अभी भी कर लो. क्योंकि क्योंकि पता है, ये जो है ना, रिवीजन एवरीथिंग, आप सब भूल जाओगे, सब कुछ नहीं याद रहने वाला है. जो अगर आपने ये कंटेंट कंसोलिडेशन के लिए काम कर लिया ना, कि सर आई एम गोइंग टू डू लास्ट मोमेंट रिवीजन, उसके लिए अगर कंटेंट मेरे को रिवाइज ही करना है, तो आई एम जस्ट प्लानिंग इट कि हाउ इट शुड बी डन इन लास्ट 2 आवर्स. वही जाएगा आपके साथ एग्जाम में. ठीक है. सो टेस्ट लिखने से क्या होगा? टेस्ट लिखने से आपका, इट शुड बी एज मच टेस्ट एज मच यू कैन, राइट, इन द फर्स्ट 5 डेज, नॉट इन द लास्ट 5 डेज. यू डू नॉट प्लान कि लास्ट 5 डेज में ऐसे छोड़ करके और कुछ नहीं. Or if you are very much confident about yourself, then also you can write. But I'll suggest last 5 days, no, do not write, except essay, and that also to break the momentum, to break the inertia. Harsha, do you have any question?
सर अभी तो सिलेबस ही नहीं हुआ है सर, आप टेस्ट लिखने की कर रहे हो।
सिलेबस कर लो, हो गया है. अब सिलेबस नहीं हुआ है, ये भी मिथ है. लेट्स डू द गुलोटिन क्लोजर ऑफ द सिलेबस, और क्लोजर बाय कंपार्टमेंट्स. क्या नहीं हुआ है बताओ मेरे को.
कुछ कुछ बचा है सर, GS2 में, IR3 में भी बचा है सर कुछ।
तो
और
IR, give just 1 day and it will be over. Do not go for the bulky content. Time is not there.
ओके सर।
है ना. बल्क नहीं करना है आपको कहीं भी. चीजें आसान है, सिंपल है, सिंपल वे में निकलेगा ये. ठीक है. हर टेस्ट लिखिए. ठीक है. मुझे पता है, मैं जो बोलता हूँ वो थोड़ा टफ है करना, लेकिन आसान क्या है, क्यों कर रहे हैं फिर? और लोगों से अच्छा करेंगे तभी तो, अच्छा रैंक लाना है तभी तो कुछ बात करें. नहीं है. अनुराग, अनुराग, आर यू रेडी? अभी टेस्ट लिखने के लिए रेडी हो?
यस सर।
हाँ, यस, इट शुड बी.
सर पढ़ने भरने में कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, वो नंबर आने में दिक्कत।
नंबर आने के लिए आई टोल्ड यू दिस, दिस अप्रोच अगर ये आपके पेपर में दिख रहा है ना, आई कैन गारंटी योर सिलेक्शन.
ओके सर।
ये दिखना चाहिए आपके पेपर में, जो इतना मैं बताया ना. सिंप्लिसिटी होना चाहिए. जो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट है वो सबसे पहले, एग्जामिनर को नहीं पढ़ना है आपका पेपर. एग्जामिनर क्यों पढ़ेगा? एग्जामिनर को घर जाना है, खाना पीना है. एग्जामिनर क्यों बर्डन लेगा, क्यों पेन लेगा?
सर
सो
ये जो फ्लो चार्ट का यूज करते हैं लोग आंसर करने में, पूरे पूरा आंसर फ्लो चार्ट के फॉर्म में करते हैं, तो वो क्या, आपका क्या व्यू है सर उस पे?
देखो, फ्लो चार्ट पूरा पूरा आंसर्स नहीं कर, वो आसान काम होता है। वो जो है ना, देखो जो जो तुम्हें लगे ना कि तुम्हारे लिए कन्वीनियंट है, एग्जामिनर के लिए वो डिफिकल्ट हो जाता है समझना। पूरा पूरा आंसर फ्लो चार्ट में इज नॉट ए वेरी गुड आइडिया। हाँ, अगर तुम करना चाहते हो कि चलो सर कुछ क्वेश्चंस में फ्लो चार्ट डालना है, डाल दीजिए। आप देखो, सबसे आसान चीज है ना, जो सबसे रेलेवेंट चीज है, अगर आपको अपने आप को बचाना है, उसमें अपने आप को सिलेक्शन कम से कम पाना है ना, तो उसके लिए आपको क्या करना होगा? सबसे पहले आपको डाइवर्सिटी पे फोकस करना होगा, प्रेजेंटेशन पे। डाइवर्सिटी, डायग्राम्स भी दिखना चाहिए, डेटा भी दिखना चाहिए, एग्जांपल्स भी दिखना चाहिए, स्ट्रक्चर भी दिखना चाहिए, इंट्रोडक्शन भी दिखना चाहिए, कंक्लूजन भी दिखना चाहिए। डाइवर्सिटी, जितना डाइवर्स प्रेजेंटेशन हो उतना ज्यादा अच्छा है।
ओके सर।
इट शुड बी वेरी डाइवर्स।
हम्म।
ठीक है, चलो, ओके। महिमा, महिमा, डू यू हैव सम डाउट?
नो
सर
सर।
हाँ, यस सर, बोलो। हाँ, यस माय दोस्त।
सर मेरे को पूछना था, जो भी हमारे फुल सिलेबस वाले टेस्ट है, तो
हाँ
मॉर्निंग
हाँ,
में 9 बजे खुल रहा है इंस्टीट्यूट, 9 बजे दे सकते हैं आके, वो जो पेपर की टाइमिंग है उस हिसाब से?
तुम आ जाओ, मैं तुम्हें एक लाइब्रेरी बता दूंगा, उसमें बैठ के दे देना। ठीक है।
ठीक है सर, मैं कल कॉल करूंगा सर।
ठीक है, ओके।
ओके सर।
ऑल राइट, सी यू ऑल।
थैंक यू सर।
थैंक यू सर।
सेशन ठीक था? आप लोगों को सही समझ में आया कुछ?
हाँ सर, बढ़िया था, बिल्कुल
यस,
relevant।
यस सर, काफी हेल्पफुल था। आपने
काफी
स्पेसिफिकली हर एक सब्जेक्ट के रिगार्डिंग बता दिया। लास्ट मोमेंट पे वही इम्पोर्टेंट रहेगा।
सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट यही रहेगा। ठीक है ना? चलो ठीक है, ओके। गुड नाइट ऑल ऑफ यू।